is Alejandro Saravia. I am the executive chef and director for the Renascence Group. I'm originally from Peru. I decided to study to be a chef when I was 16. At the same time, I was finishing high school. And I had a disagreement with my father that I was going to study to be a chef and then come back to study a proper career. So I studied marketing and business in the University of Lima in Peru. I came to Australia in 2006, and that's when I fell in love with this country. I thought there was a better opportunity here to share my culinary skills, my homeland cuisine, and develop my career here. And that's why I decided to stay in Australia. I think if you don't risk, you don't gain. If you don't risk, you will always have that idea of what if, and that's why I love about doing business. Even though we are very passionate about serving and creating special moments for all our guests, we are a business, and as a business we need to track and follow our financial forecast to be able to pay the bills, to be able to employ all the people that we employ, and that allows us to create those special moments for all our guests. In this industry, the margins are really narrow, and every single aspect of the business has to align in order to deliver the bottom line. Having the right tools, having the right systems to keep monitoring almost every day how the financial performance of each venue is doing allows us also to correct any potential challenge or any potential mistake. One thing that I always ask everyone, and even myself, when we're setting up the venues is this spend or this investment gonna make a difference to our customers? If the answer is yes, how much is it gonna cost, and how is that factor into running of the business? If the answer is no, we don't even think about it. The reality is that you need to be more conservative at the beginning and look at where are you spending all the extra money or all the extra working capital that you have, and be more cautious and question every single spend. We go through 3-4 different quotes before we make a decision to buy something, and we don't just get guided to buy something that we like because it looks nice. Review the concept itself, not only yourself, but give it to people that you trust that will give you a good feedback, because especially at the beginning, we think that we need to open a restaurant for ourselves, for what we want, and we forget that we're opening a venue for all the people that are out there. So yes, the concept needs to reflect who we are, but it needs to be open enough for people outside to be able to explore and discover all this. When you get offered a site, you basically get sold a dream, right? The developer comes in, or a real estate agent comes in, and their mission, their job is to basically sell the site or lease the site, and they're always gonna be highlighting all the benefits. And it's your job as a professional to separate all the smoky mirrors from the reality. I usually spend months going to the same site, to the area, analyzing where the wind blows, if it's going to be a wind tunnel, especially here in Melbourne, if the courtyard that they're presenting you as the beautiful European style courtyard, you're going to be able to use it every day, or you're going to be able to use it 3 times a year. How people walks around the site, you need to analyze where the train station is and which restaurants are busy, which restaurants are not that busy, what are the facilities around, is there parking, is there no parking. So understanding what is the behavior is very important. That is just the very initial step, because then all the financial commercial agreements and the financials comes in place, and you need to start seeing if the rent represents the percentage of spend that I'm considering for that particular restaurant. What is the turnover? What are the potential sales? What will be the potential menu price for that area as well? And if the concept suits that price point. Once you start looking at all those factors, if one doesn't align, it's probably a red flag, and there is no point to push a square peg in a round hole. When you start feeling that you're starting to push too much for this to happen, maybe it's not a good idea. Don't rush the initial process of doing all the due diligence right. From reviewing leases by lawyers, to hire the right accountants, to hire the right builders, having a feasibility study of the site, I think it's very important. Also to understand what is the real number of guests that you can actually hold on that space. There is a saying in Peru that says that paper supports everything. El papel aguanta todo. You can draw whatever you want, you can feed as many people as you want in a square meter, but then the reality is different. The way we forecast revenue in the early stages of the restaurant is thinking on the worst case scenario. What's the minimum that we need to basically turn over to cover all our costs? Labor is the tricky one because you need a minimum amount of staff members to provide the right experience that we want. Once you start cutting that, if the service is gonna suffer or the experience is gonna suffer, that's not gonna be good for the business overall. There are a lot of hidden costs that a lot of operators forget, or especially the new operators forget, from cost of linen, overheads that the site has, like the energy cost and gas, cleaning, garbage management, uniforms, making sure that you consider GST in the pricing on your menu. That's a very common mistake for chefs in general. The other one is that it's very important you don't open the restaurant 7 days a week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner straight away. You want to scale that service slowly so you can, first of all, manage the quality of service that you provide. If you start opening, let's say, 5 dinners, 3 lunches, once you masterize those 5 dinners, 3 lunches, you're comfortable, you really know how much it costs you to run each service. Maybe for lunch you need more people because there's more demand for lunch, and for dinner less, or backwards. Which days as well do you roster more people, less people? What are the starting points? That's the best way to understand the site, understand the demand. Once you start understanding that and have that data, that's when you start looking at, okay, what we need to do on a Friday lunch? What do we need to do on a Monday dinner? Is it worth it to open Monday dinner? At the beginning of the operation, it's an 8-month to a year track of daily performance and adjusting every day, every week. Sometimes there's, again, a lot of smoky mirrors in these numbers. At the beginning, you feel that you're busy because the venue is busy, but there's not much spent. And your labor cost is costing you more. Turning the venue on, lights, energy, like gas, chefs, is costing you more than what you're actually making. That we look at as KPIs is labor cost percentage against turnover, food cost, beverage cost, a global operational cost. It involves marketing, communication, reservations, all the subscriptions that we have, operational systems as well, the cost of running them, rent. It's those KPIs which aligns us with basically the business is healthy or not. Data is very important, and I think as a hospitality operator, as a business, if you don't consider data as your key focus in the business, you shouldn't be doing business. Nowadays, the data is so available. It's there for you to learn, to understand, to break down, and it's silly not to get advantage of that. What we do, obviously, monitoring sales is gonna give us the learning curve of how our customers behave. What they are willing to spend in a lunch service, in a dinner service. Because in this business, in this industry, consistency is key. And data gives you the opportunity to analyze that consistency. Which dishes are not selling and at what price are we overpricing that? Maybe that ingredient is not suitable for your offer because your clientele is not willing to pay. You should look at another cut that would allow you to put a similar dish on a more affordable price that your market or your clientele is more willing to consume. All that comes from data, from the POS systems, from our booking systems. The more you start looking at inside the business, it becomes like kind of addictive in some way because You want to see the progression, you want to see the reflection of the operational actions or the strategy that in those numbers, how a good menu engineering process can really affect your sales. You are able to make changes with a better information, more certain that those changes are going to have a positive impact in the business as well. Having process, having procedures, having a good control of our business allows us to have more time to think about how the dining experience in our venues is going to be delivered. We choose Zeller because, again, we need to provide clear, direct, easy to digest, easy to extract data of our operation on a day-to-day basis. We can track all our sales, all our business performance with the reports that we can create with Zeller, providing a complicated analysis into a very simple format that allows us to cut that time of research and give us the information almost straight away, so we can have also more time to create great experiences.